So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. This is Laura Thompson, your friendly, fabulous, feisty, fierce, and phenomenal CEO and creator of TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. And you're tuned into the coffee break. And guess who I ran into on my break today? I'm always running into phenomenal people, but this is an extraordinary, phenomenal woman, a fabulous woman. I've been knowing her for a long, long time, and I've seen her go through the ranks. Miss Monique Vernon, how you doing, Monique?
To see you, and thanks for having me.
So, so before we get started with the interview, I'd like to get you to tell us a little biographical information about you, who you are, what you do, where you're from, all of those good things.
So, I am Monique Vernon, a native of San Antonio, Texas, and I'm a proud graduate of Sam Houston High School. I went on to Dillard University in New Orleans, Louisiana, where I obtained a Bachelor of Arts degree in Criminal Justice and Sociology, and then on to Webster University in St. Louis, where I received a Master of Public Administration. Additionally, I'm a certified public manager through the Texas State University program. And currently, I serve as Assistant City Administrator for the City of Selma. I have been there a year and a half. Prior to that, I worked in multiple local government entities to include the city manager of Kirby. I worked for the city of San Antonio, city of Del Rio, and the city of New Braunfels. And my start in local government was in Bexar County Commissioner's Court.
And she's so young, but she's got a long list of accomplishments, and believe me, she's qualified to do it all. So when I first met you, you were working for Judge Nelson Wolf, and I'm like, oh my God, she's like in her early 20s, and she's working in this major position. You were the assistant to to the county judge, and so that was very impressive. And then you went on to do some other things. So tell us about your progression into where you are now.
So I always like to share interesting story. I did not know that I was going to end up in public service. I started off with intentions of going to law school. Went to work for Linebarger Law Offices right after college, and I was going to work there for a little while and then go on to law school. Well, while working there, I learned that they collect delinquent property taxes for cities and counties. And then that led to me getting a position with the Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolf. And I worked as his aide for 3 years, and then I did legislative services for 1 year at the county. And then is when I learned that, Bexar County and the local commissioner's court made administrative decisions that really impact all of our lives. And that put me on that track of public service. So I just made that career change and decided to stick with public service.
When you after you worked for the Bexar County Judge, is that when you went to Del Rio? Well, tell us a little bit about that because you did some phenomenal things in Del Rio.
Yeah, I ended up in Del Rio, and when I got there, my first position was actually working for the Middle Rio Grande Valley, and they're pretty big along the border communities. And one of the programs they had was the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. So I worked there part-time. That allowed me to meet several people from the city of Del Rio. Then they had an opening for an economic development specialist, and I really did not know what that entailed, but because I'd had experience working for Bexar County, I had worked on, resolutions and ordinances for the Commissioner's Court, and had written speeches for the county judge. So they hired me to go do economic development, and my focus was to recruit and retain small businesses. So I worked with their Main Street program, and that was a really good learning experience. I did that for about a year, and then I was asked to be the interim assistant city manager, and that was a big deal for me. I was really young at the time, learned a lot. Then I got the position permanently, and it's just been a blessing, and to keep moving forward in various local government positions.
That's phenomenal, right? For her to go in as what did you go in?
Economic development specialist.
Yes, and move up to city manager, assistant city manager. So what did that job entail? You said you were economic development specialist, and then you moved into interim assistant city manager, and then assistant city manager. So, what do those two jobs entail, and what did you learn to help you to get to that?
So when I took the interim assistant city manager position, I was given several departments. And so I was in charge of the local theater, the convention and visitors bureau, the parks department, the public works department, the economic development department fell under me, marketing. It's just a variety of departments. And so yeah, we were at that time we were divided. So the city manager had several departments, the assistant city manager had other departments, and it was really just an opportunity to learn about every aspect of how city government works. That was my first city government job. So making that transition from Bexar County into city government was a little bit different in the structure, but overall the same. We're there to, do constituent assistance, work on taxes, fees, and provide, the best services we can to the residents. So that was always the goal.
Simply phenomenal. And you were still in your 20s then, right? And I'm like, when I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, she's just so young. And but age is nothing but a number, whether it's up or down, whether it's older or younger. So we were very proud in cheering her on. I had an opportunity to be in the first African American Leadership Institute class with you, and I'm saying this young lady is going places. And when I was really impressed when you were working for the county judge, and then when you went to Del Rio, I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely phenomenal. And so from Del Rio, did you go to New Braunfels from there? So you did a lot of great works in New Braunfels. So tell us about the work that you did in New Braunfels.
I went to work for the city of New Braunfels as the downtown development coordinator. And that position basically focused on their Main Street program and economic development specifically for the downtown area. And so while I was there, two of the projects that I was most proud of, one was a wayfinding signage and amenities program for downtown. So we had worked on a master plan for the area, and that was one of the things that came out of it was brick pavers along the sidewalk, wayfinding signs on the poles. And when I drive through New Braunfels now, I see those things. So that's really, exciting to see, hey, something that we worked on actually is benefiting the community now. And then one of the other things is that we hosted a Main Street conference in the city of New Braunfels while I worked there. So that was great to bring in all of the downtown and Main Street managers from all over Texas to come to our city and host the conference there. So that was very exciting.
They have a new event center or convention center there or in New Braunfels. Were you associated with that in any way while you were there?
It was already there when I started, but they've moved into a new city hall, and that's been since I left. And it's a very nice building. I've been able to go back and see that area.
So then, so if we weren't excited about that, we heard that Monique had moved to Kirby to become the city manager, and you were the first African American female to serve in that position. So tell us a little bit about that and some of your success stories with the city of Kirby.
So I'll tell you, just before I went to Kirby, I left New Braunfels and I wanted to progress to a bigger position. So I thought, let me go to a much bigger city. My experience had been smaller cities. So I said, all right, I'll go work for the city of San Antonio. So I actually went and spent 7 months working for the city of San Antonio's tax increment reinvestment zone division, which fell under the planning department at the time. But while I was there, I said, I really miss smaller government. So I saw the job posting for Kirby, and I thought, well, okay, I've been an assistant city manager. I don't know if I'm ready to jump into the city management role, but my goal was before the age of 40, I wanted to be a city manager. So I was 36, applied for the job, got the position, and that was an excellent experience. I spent 8.5 years as a city manager of Kirby. I feel like I made quite a few advancements for the city while I was there. Had an opportunity to work with a great staff while I was there. And so a few things that I'm pleased that happened during my term in Kirby was we received more grant funding than any years before. Also fixed more streets. I know Kirby has very You know, it's an older community, so there are a lot of infrastructure needs, but we did fix more streets during the time that I was there than in previous years. So one of the things about Kirby is that it is landlocked, completely surrounded by San Antonio and Bexar County. So not a lot of commercial or developable land there. But one of the projects we did get was Line that came in. It's a big company. They're right there on Springfield Road. They're doing very well. They supply a lot of construction projects. And then also Quick Trip, you know, that came into the San Antonio region. So Kirby had the second Quick Trip to open up in the San Antonio area.
I know they're on the East Coast and in the North, and I was riding with someone, and they said, "Oh, I didn't know they had quick trips here. They got quick trips all over, yeah, in the northern United States." But so, so you worked with Kirby, and you had, you know, some successes there, and then now you're in Selma. So she does love those little small towns. You should just get them all to collaborate together and do some big projects together. So tell us what you do there, and you know what type of plans y'all have for Selma.
I'm very excited about my current role in Selma. I have lived in the city of Selma for 15 years. So this is a first opportunity that I've had to really, you know, work and live in the same city. My commute is 5 minutes from home to work, and I feel like I'm really making a significant impact. So Selma is a great community because it's very progressive. We have part of the forum. We have a lot of industrial and commercial development. We have the lowest property taxes within this area. So it gives me an opportunity to really see a lot of great things happen. We are getting two major projects. We are building an elementary school for Judson ISD in the city of Selma. It's our first school. And we are also getting a university hospital. And that is going to be the Rotama Hospital right next door to Rotama Racetrack. And so that is, both of those projects are currently under construction. They recently started, and they are big projects for our city. So we're very excited about that. Additionally, we are doing some infrastructure improvements. We're going to be redeveloping Rotama Parkway. It's an older street that needs some work. We're going to be doing a Wiederstein Road project, and we're also looking to put a dog park in the community. So I get to see, you know, things happen in my own home community, so that's exciting. Now, I was hired there. I left Kirby in February of 2023, and I only took about a month off. Selma had offered me a job previously. I wasn't ready to make that transition yet, so the timing was good. Took that position as the Director of Development Services, and then was promoted to Assistant City Administrator in June of this year.
That development position, what does that entail, and what does that allow you to do?
So it's similar to economic development. The only difference is that I also have permits and inspections. So I started off with the intent to just supervise permitting, inspections, and the health department. But then with the promotion, it encompasses now I have municipal court, I have code compliance, I have you know, a variety of other programs. But I still get to manage the construction projects, infrastructure projects, as well as the new building projects.
Brand new hospital, a first time brand new school. So that's pretty exciting, I think. So with the new hospital and the new school, what type of supporting projects do you think will come out of that?
They are both in great locations near Lookout and Rotama. And so I believe we're going to get additional apartment complexes. There's a mixed-use development that's looking at that area as well. That's going to include retail, restaurants, and some other, I think, projects are going to follow as a result of that, because the hospital is not only going to be a full-service hospital, but it'll also have an attached full-blown medical offices. And so there's going to be a need for housing, for shopping, for places to eat, for all of the medical personnel in that area. So I really think that's going to spur a lot of additional development. We're also a part of the new I-35 expansion project that TxDOT is doing. There's two portions of that goes through Selma. So I think with that improvement along 1604 and I-35, that's going to draw more traffic into Selma and more development as well.
I know a lot of the small cities are kind of landlocked. So do y'all have extra land somewhere that we don't know about that you could utilize?
We have some, not a lot. We are blessed because we have along Lookout Road, along Corporate Drive, which is right across the street from City Hall. There is some new warehouses that are being built, some that have just opened. We also have Benny Keith, and so they have some vacant space within their building. And then we just got the Chick-fil-A distribution center that opened up as well a couple of months ago. They actually went into full production beginning of August, and so there's some space next door to them. So we have some areas available. We have a little bit of vacant land off of I-35, but we will get to a point where I think we'll be fully built out in a few years.
Don't have any expansion plans right now. So cool. So this has been a great, great, great conversation. I'm real proud of Monique. You know, she's homegrown, San Antonio, Texas. She looks like, you know, she's shy, but she's not. She's a quiet storm, and she's doing some great, great things. And not only, you know, San Antonio, Bexar County, but just, I guess you could say Texas. You've really left a footprint in a lot of the small towns in Texas, not just San Antonio. So, you know, and she kind of walked into all of these positions, although she was well prepared, you know, got a great education to support what she does. But although she got the great education, she's a very innovative thinker, and she's a producer, and she made a lot of things happen with her quiet demeanor until you get her into a conference room or in her then she can really tell you what needs to be done. So out of all of the projects, you know, that you worked on in all the cities that you worked in, and don't get jealous if she doesn't say y'all city, but what was your favorite city that you managed or worked under?
So I'm gonna say so far, my time in Kirby, I was probably most proud of because I really feel like I took the city to another level. One of the things that my mother always told me growing up was leave a place better than you found it. And so I feel like in public service, it's a thankless job. There's, you know, always so much that happens behind the scenes as the staff does that, you know, residents and even sometimes elected officials don't necessarily know or appreciate. But I feel like I did a lot to move that city forward. But I am looking forward to what I'm going to be able to accomplish in Selma the more time that I spend there.
I know with building a hospital, building a school, that's going to bring in more families, and people are going to be closer to other surrounding cities to get to the hospital, and so that's going to bring a lot of traffic and a lot, it spark probably a lot of new ideas for you of what you can do. So do you have an opportunity to work with developers? Do they come to y'all and come with ideas about what they would like to do with your land in your city?
So actually, Selma is a member of Greater SATX, which is an economic development arm that pulls together various members, you know, cities, counties, and they help you to recruit businesses. So they send us regularly, we get 3 or 4 a week notices from developers looking to come into Texas, or some that are already local that are looking for land, and we can submit proposals. So we do that on a regular basis. And we give site visits and tours. So because we're fortunate of where we're located, you know, proximity wise between Austin and in that San Antonio area, right on the highway, we get quite a bit of interest from developers.
So what's the population for Selma? I didn't ask you that.
Selma is a little over 13,000.
Really, it's bigger than Kirby, huh? Wow, so that's awesome. And so you have how many neighborhoods?
We are actually at a point where we just completed our very last full-blown new subdivision. So all we have now are, you know, homes that are for resale, and then a few vacant lots behind Rotamo in an area called Selma Park Estates. But for the most part, housing-wise, we are built up.
So my final question is, you know, you've done all these things, and I know you just got to Selma. But do you have any other? I know you had you wanted to be a city manager by the time you were 40, and you reached it before that. So, do you have any other milestone plans for the future?
I'm gonna retire by 50. No. Yeah. No, well, the one thing that I really look forward to being able to do, and I think this is important, I've learned this working with various cities and then also talking to different city managers in the Texas network and beyond. There is a strong need to have consultants. So, my next goal is to go into consulting, where I would go into different cities and train staff. Maybe new city managers coming in. I mean, there are a lot of people that are interim city managers. They go in the city and they actually do the job for a certain period of time. But I would like to go in and train the people that are there on how to do the job. I think that that is a need. Our industry in city management is at a point where we need more diversity. We need younger people, more women, more minorities. And so that's one of the goals of our Texas City Management Association, to try to recruit people. But when they get there, we need to keep them interested. And times are changing, so I feel like going in there and helping train and consult is going to be very important. So that's my next thing.
Always planning, always be planning. So that's awesome. am just so excited, and I've been watching you for a long time, for several years, maybe almost 20 years. Yeah. So, and you still look the same. You still have the sweet spirit, and and just a powerhouse. And you've done a lot of great things, and helped a lot of people in the city, and I know you'll continue to do so. So I appreciate your time, and this has been a great conversation, and we look forward to following you to to learn more about what you're doing, and what your future looks like.
All right, it's been my pleasure, to visit with you. And I think it's actually been over 20 years. As I think about it now, my son is 20 years old, so we met before he was born. So look at that.
Who is this little girl working in these big positions? But we really appreciate your time, and thank you for coming out. And we're going to be following you to see what's up